I don't know. All right. I want to make sure everybody, this is a really a lot of ground to cover today. And I didn't know how many of you have been with me from the beginning or have heard all the way from the first class. But as I started thinking about what I was going to talk about today, I started thinking that I would start to talk about law of attraction, which I think we've all heard about, right? I don't know if all of you have heard about law of attraction. It's probably one of the most talked about laws or universal laws that's become kind of popular. It's almost like a brand, right? Is that how do I know if everybody? I can't feel like everybody's on and listening. Can everybody just tell me?
I can hear you, Bea.
I hear you.
Can you guys do me a favor? Can you guys send me a little thumbs up on the chat? Because I'm monitoring the chat with questions and anything like that so that I can share it with Bea. Can you guys just give us a thumbs up if you can hear us?
Okay, cool.
Okay. Let's try.
Well, I know that Florinda and Michelle are on. What about Marisol, though? I still think Marisol is not listening.
Yeah, I haven't heard. Okay, Ariel's on. She can hear us. Raquel can hear us. Keep giving me those thumbs up, guys, so that I can make sure that everybody's hearing us.
Yeah, before I get into this, because it's a biggie.
Yeah, I don't want anybody to miss it. That's why let's make sure that everybody can hear us before we start, Bea.
Yeah.
Apparently, it may have something to do with the update, you guys, that the girls were talking about. Okay, so Marisol joined
I just tried, unless I have to restart the computer. I just tried doing the update and it went through. But I just tried to log in with the audio in the computer, but it's still not working. I'm still hearing you through my phone.
Okay.
Marisol, can you finally hear us?
No, I don't think she's getting it. Try. How did you do that? The phone, Florinda, so that Marisol maybe can do the same.
And just like we do with the other meetings, when Deborah sends the invite, there is there's numbers that you can dial in.
Try calling in instead. Let me tell her.
And
she
girls,
has to put in. Yeah.
I only got 2 thumbs up. Can I get everybody to give us a thumbs up?
I'm from my computer.
Well,
I don't have any emojis.
Oh, okay.
Me too.
Okay.
I know, guys. I just wrote, I'm hearing. I don't have emojis on my computer either.
Hi, Marisol. I see you. Finally. Okay. Whew. Little rough start. So let's take a nice deep breath. Let's get our vibrations a little bit higher than the anxiety and nervousness of this start.
Nothing is going to get us from not starting this call.
Yeah, you got it.
Nothing.
Too much important stuff to cover. Okay, so here goes. I was thinking,
I got it.
Yay! Marisol is on.
All right, get ready, girls.
That's great.
I really want you guys to have a piece of paper and a pencil or something to write with, because I'm going to cover some ground that I think is really important as a foundational principle that you guys maybe have never heard in this format before. This is the kind of stuff that I wish they would teach us in school, right? Just like they teach us scientific laws. We know about the law of gravity, right? We know about the physical laws based in science that they teach us in school, but no one bothers to teach us the 14 universal laws. Has anyone on this call heard about this?
No.
Anybody about the 14?
I have.
You have, Meech? Okay.
No. I think Deepak covers it a lot.
Okay. All right.
He says 7 spiritual laws.
Yes. I mean, they can start, there's 7 basics, but really there's 14 universal laws.
So I'm sure we've heard of some of them, but I don't
Yes.
know about all 14.
Okay.
I
And the
couldn't
reason that I wanted to cover this today, guys, is because I kind of wanted to touch upon one of the laws that became extremely popular because of the secret. Has anybody heard about The Secret?
Yes.
Yes.
Right? You see? So we heard about The Secret because The Secret became popular through branding, through the concept of the law of attraction, right? We've heard of the law of attraction, correct? Most of us.
Right.
Yes.
But it's kind of weird to go into just the law of attraction without covering other laws, okay? Because all of these laws, believe it or not, that kind of influence our world, our universe, and the things that we do every day are connected, okay? And that actually brings me to the first universal law. The first universal law is the law of divine oneness, okay? That means, in a nutshell, that everything in this world is connected, that there is no separateness between you, me, or anything around us. It is the law of divine oneness. That is the first law. And the one that actually starts the principles of all the other laws that go underneath that. So they say that one of the deepest wounds that we have as human beings on a spiritual level is to believe that we are separate from God or from source or from universe. This pain, and I've talked in our last meeting about pain and pleasure, right? This pain that we feel as human beings is because we have believed that we are separate, that you and I and everyone around us is separate, and in fact, God is separate. This is an illusion that we are living, and it causes our deepest pain and sorrow. That's why it's so important to understand the law of divine oneness. Because once you understand that everything is connected, and therefore whatever we do energetically is connected to everything else, you start believing that your thoughts and your energy and your emotions and your energy and motion, like I've been teaching, is connected to it all. And therefore influences all the other laws that we're about to cover. So, law number 1, the law of divine oneness. Law number 2, the law of vibration. Okay? This law is very simple. It's everything vibrates. Now we know this even in science and in physics, right? I've covered this before. We understand our vibration, or everything is vibrating in this world. Everything vibrates at a different frequency, including energy. And when you heard me cover, did you guys lose me? No, right? Are you guys still listening?
I did a little bit. You're fading in and out.
Yeah? Oh, okay. I don't know why. All right. So I don't know what you heard, didn't hear. Okay.
Go over law of vibration again.
Okay. So now, law number 2 is the law of vibration. So basically, it's the law that everything vibrates and has its own frequency, its own vibration. I mean, literally every single thing, including our thoughts. Okay, that's why when we first started these teachings, I started from understanding our own energy as emotions, because emotions are energy in motion. Basically, they are vibrating in a frequency, and it influences everything, because as we influence and control, not control, because understand is a better word, become aware is a better word, of our emotions, we understand our own frequency, our own vibration, right? And as we elevate our energy and emotional vibration, we are able to use those vibrations as thoughts that therefore create things. Okay? So this is kind of one of the most important and basic ones, because if we don't understand that our thoughts, our energy, and our emotions are in a constant state of creation for our lives, we cannot even begin to use them to manifest what we want. Okay? So law number 3, the law of action. The law of action is basically layered over the law of vibration. So it says that we must take action or create motion in order to manifest this vibration that we are experiencing or thinking. Okay? Because in the world of physicality, there are 4 physical laws. 4. Energy, light, vibration, and motion. This we know even from science. This doesn't have anything, this is not necessarily a spiritual concept. This is a physical concept. It's literally a physical law. Okay? And that's why vibration comes before motion. So when you put a thought, you attach it to a vibration or an emotion, right? And you put it in motion, what do you get? Action, right? And this action is what pushes forward your thought, your energy, and your vibration. Do we get that? So it's like picks up momentum. It's kind of like when you put a snowball running down a hill, right? If you push that snowball, it starts out really small, and then it grows and grows and grows and grows and grows and grows because of action. You understand? So the law of action is energy in motion. Okay? Number 4, the law of correspondence. So the law of correspondence is what happens on the inside will reflect on the outside. As within, so without. Okay? Correspondence is similar to the idea of law of attraction, but it's a little different because basically it's the yin and the yang. It's the positive and the negative. It's everything that happens inside of us will reflect on the outside. Once again, it reinforces the emotional part in it, the emotional element in our worlds. Because when we put out negativity, we get negativity in correspondence. When we put out positivity, we get positivity in correspondence. It is a law. The 5th law is the law of cause and effect. Now, this one we know about through even our religions. I mean, it's part of our golden rule, right? Do unto others as you would have done unto you. Karma, we've all heard about this law, but it's never been, or maybe it's not taught in the way that I'm just telling you right now, as simple cause and effect. And oftentimes we think that this law is a choice, like do unto others, have done unto, etc., right? But that's not really true. Being a law, what is a law? A law is an absolute. A law is not something that's wishy-washy. A law is not optional. A law is a law. It either is or it is not. So the law of cause and effect is that every single action has an equal consequence or reaction. So when you think that the golden rule is optional, like it's like, this time I'm going to be a good person and I'm going to do this or not. That's not true, because whatever you do has a consequence. And remember, because of the law of correspondence, if it's a positive contribution, you get a positive response. If it's a negative contribution, you get a negative response. Period. There is no wishy-washiness about this. You put it out there, it comes back. It's like a boomerang. It has no, let's consider it it's completely objective. It is not subjective. I always used to say that the universe has no sense of humor. And just think about it, okay? It really doesn't have a personality that's saying, oh, I'm going to be super nice to you today. No. Basically, it's completely objective. What you do comes back to you. Period. No sense of humor. It's not sarcastic. All right? What you reap, you sow. Remember that. So the sixth law is the law of compensation. So the law of compensation is that the universe is divinely generous. In fact, one of the best representations of that is nature. It doesn't say, you know what, I'm only going to produce 3 mangoes because, I don't feel like producing 10. No, each tree, and this is, I'll give you an example. When I went to Rancho La Puerta and I went to visit their organic gardens, I was blown away by the amount of food that one little garden, their garden, produces. Okay? Growing, they had so much food from these few trees that they could feed all of their guests the entire year and have enough to give to the entire village that's next to them. That's how generous nature is. Has it ever stopped giving us oxygen? No. Has it ever stopped giving us the cycles of fruits and vegetables and everything we need to eat? In fact, there is enough to eat. These are the gifts of nature. That is the law of compensation. It is divinely generous. But guess what? How much you compensate, in other words, to the level that you increase the compensation, is the level of your contribution. And let me repeat that. What you receive in compensation is to the level of your contribution. So in other words, we've heard this before. The more you give, the more you receive. Now you see how all of these laws are kind of connecting to each other? I hope that you're having little aha moments, understanding that your energy is emotions, thoughts, everything is connected. The law of divine oneness, right? Starts with that first one. Are you getting all of these little nuances that connect to each other? They seem like they're the same thing, but they're not. But they are definitely laws. They are not optional. This is how the universe works. So remember, to the level that you contribute is the level you will be compensated. Okay? Period. And that really comes down to everything you do, right? When you put a lot of love and attention and care into preparing a meal for your family, what do you get in return? Love and gratitude back, right? It could be as simple as something like that. To the level with which you work in your job, let's say you contribute, you really contribute with your heart and soul. That is to the level that you will be compensated. Okay? And sometimes compensation is not necessarily a financial one. So remember, we want to reap and sow. Number 7, the law of attraction. One of my favorites. We finally got to it. Okay? The law of attraction, which became very popular, like I said, is based on basically like attracts like. And this is why I started our whole talk about watching our emotions, because our frequency, our vibration, our energy in motion, our thoughts, everything is connected. And whatever we put out there, we receive in return to the same level of vibration. That's why the higher we vibrate, the better we get things. And I've seen this in my life personally. As I have elevated my vibration and created a more consistent frequency in my life, what I have coming to me has evolved incredibly. It has affected everything in my life, everything. My work, the clients that I get, the financial rewards, the beautiful things that I've dreamed about come to life and manifest through law of attraction. But the first thing I did in order to make that happen, which has become a practice in my life, is to understand how my emotions are telling me how my frequency is every day. And to understand that if you have a wobbly frequency, I've mentioned this in the last calls. What I mean by wobbly is that 1 minute you're up, hey, everything's great. The next minute you're like, oh man, that guy's so annoying. What the heck? And you're wobbly. You're not consistent in your emotions. When you're inconsistent, guess what? You get inconsistent results. So you're like, man, this law of attraction thing is such bullshit. I put it out there. I say my affirmations. I do all these things. And then look at this. I got in a car accident. Right? And the reason for that is because you still haven't mastered a consistency in your emotional frequency, which is your vibration. Okay? That's why the law of attraction became so popular, because everybody said, oh no, through the law of attraction, I can manifest all of my dreams. And yes, you can. But you got to take into account your own frequency. Best metaphor in the world is put on your oxygen mask first before someone else. Get your energy up, and the world will be your oyster. Okay? 8, the law. This was a big one, okay? Get out your pencils. The law of perpetual transmutation of energy. Now, this one is very powerful.
B, repeat that again.
I know. Here it goes. The law of perpetual transmutation of energy. What does that mean in a nutshell? Okay, you all have the power to change your energy and frequency at a moment's notice and cause the effect within that. All persons have the power within them to change their lives. All of them. There's no exception. I'm not better than you. You're not better than me. She's not better than us. No. We all have the power within us to shift our thoughts, our energy, and our frequency and transmute that energy to change our lives. This is a law, folks. This is not a rule. This is not a maybe. This is a law. Remember that when you feel that you're a victim. Whenever you fall into victimhood and blaming or judging and comparing yourself to others, remember that this is a law.
So B, to that point, if
Yes.
you are, just an example, if you are impacted by something, okay, whether it's a work thing, let's say, just to keep it general, you can, if you catch yourself like going in a direction that is really not a positive one, right?
Mhm.
And with this law, you can shift in that
Correct.
moment, whether
Yes.
it's a pause, a breath, whatever it is, and it will shift.
Yes.
It kind of gets you back on track.
Yeah.
It gets you back because it gets you out of that, and you immediately just, so whatever we need to do to shift gears by, raising our arm, whatever it is to allow us to.
Oh God, we have somebody coming in, Deb. Thank you, Marisol. I will definitely answer to that because I want to expand upon it.
Okay.
Dianelis is trying to get in, but she says she can't hear either. Okay. Trata de
Tell her
Neither
to
can you-
log off and go back in a couple of times because I did that and it.
Yeah. Me too. I did the same thing. So she's got to keep trying and connect, via the internet.
A couple times, but it worked.
Yep.
Okay. Sí. Okay. O trata de llamar también. Right? Okay. So, Marisol, to your point, yes.
So let me ask you a question. I'm sorry, B. I want to touch on that before you keep going and giving your explanation, because so I don't know if you all know, but my niece Ariel's a nurse, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she just went back to work after having a baby, and she is going through a lot with the COVID patients and things like that, right?
Right.
So when you talk about energy and when you go back to talk about what Marisol was talking about, kind of touch on that, because I think it's super important in her case that she understands this to a T so that she doesn't bring that energy home with her and she can kind of learn how to go through that.
Yes, exactly. I mean, one of the biggest things, the reason that we're having these sessions is to become awake and aware. This is my favorite thing. You must become awake and aware. Once you know these things, these principles, it's kind of like having a foundation for living, okay? It's understanding that how you're feeling can affect, and every single thought and emotion has a frequency that's being transmitted out into the world at every single moment of the day. Every single moment of the day. And therefore, this particular law, okay, that allows you to shift that energy is so important because it takes away that feeling that everything is out of your control. You are in control.
You're in control.
The problem is you have to be aware that you are in control. And when you get caught up, like Marisol said, when you get caught up in a negative spiraling emotional thought process, okay, because it happens to all of us, okay, guys? We all have triggers. We've all been conditioned from day one, and we can go into this spiraling negativity because something happened, right? We have the ability to transmute this into positive. And how do we do it first? I'll tell you why. I'll tell you how. Be conscious of your body, because your body, your physicality will be the first telltale sign. Okay? Your heart starts beating, your face gets hot, you hold your breath, right? All of these things are signs telling you, hey, you're going down the deep end. So actually breath work, that's why breath work is so important. Breathing is the first perfect antidote to transmuting your energy, because breath connects us to our heart. Okay? So if you take a deep breath, that's why when we started and we had all this thing going on with our technology today, and I said, let's stop and take a breath. Because the breath allows us to ground ourselves again and shift our energy immediately. But of course, we have to become aware of these things. So when we go into a stressful situation, like your Ariel is doing, she's going back to a stressful situation while she's been in this blissful kind of motherly nurturing world. It's really important that she centers herself before stepping in to the environment. Okay? She could be in her car, in the parking lot, take 3 deep breaths, and just create a nice light boundary around her and say, today is going to be a blessed day. I am going to be guided to help everyone that I need to help. And I am going to stay within my energy and nothing will affect me. I will only contribute and help. Just by doing that, it creates an intentional boundary that is impenetrable. Okay? So that's what I would recommend.
Okay.
Thank you, Bea. I'm here. I just look a mess, so that's why you cannot see me. But I really appreciate that, and I will definitely practice that.
It is, and it will protect you even energetically on your health, because you're vulnerable. If how many times have you guys not gotten, let's say, a common cold, just because if you start putting together when you've gotten a cold, you probably were vulnerable because of your energy being in a weird state. Like you were stressed out, you were doing too much, you're trying to, keep all your balls in the air. And guess what? I got sick, right? Yep. And you know what that is basically? Your body is saying, hey, slow down. Chill out. Too much is going on. You're making me out of balance. Okay? Because I want to, this is a perfect moment to bring in one word that I want you to learn, and we're going to talk about more. Okay? And that is coherence. Okay? Our goal in this physical world is to become coherent. Okay? Harmonious with ourselves and with the universe, because again, the law of divine oneness. If we are out of balance with ourselves and out of balance with the universe, and we are not coherent, we will suffer the consequences. And it will manifest in numerous different ways in our lives. It could manifest in a disease. It could manifest in a difficult crisis. The reason that this virus is occurring is because the world is out of coherence. Okay? We are out of coherence collectively across the board, across the planet. We are out of coherence. And this virus is causing us to take a time out. It's like, Father God has said, hey, go to your room and think about what you've done. You are completely out of whack. Vete, siéntate ahí en un timeout, and let's think about this shit. How are we going to fix this problem? Because obviously we're not doing a good job. Right?
Yeah, right.
That's what COVID has done for us right now. COVID-19, the best timeout ever. Right?
Crazy.
Yeah, that's what
true.
God did.
Yeah.
God,
reset. Time to reset.
Reset. God and Mother and Father God have said, vete para tu cuarto y ve a pensar lo que te pasó, because la cosa está jodida. Vamos a resolver esto. Okay? And that's
very
exactly
true.
That, just think about it. It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's the perfect storm. Perfect. Okay? That's what a crisis does. And we'll hit upon that with another law very soon. Okay, so law number 9, because there's 14, okay, guys? So be patient with me. The law of gestation, okay?
Yeah.
Now, I know you've never heard of this one, but the law of gestation is basically the law of divine timing. Nothing happens before its time.
That's so perfect.
In other words, you can't put a seed into the ground and tomorrow say, oye, where's my fruit? Chico, déjame meter I've just put the seed in. Why isn't it giving me any fruit? Why can't I have it now? That's not the way divine timing works, right? We put a seed in the ground, and that seed has the potential to become the most amazing tree, fruit, anything, right? But it has to gestate. It has to be in divine timing. Okay? Remember that. So think of your thoughts attached to your emotional frequency as, wow, this is the best way to say it, the sperm and the egg. Okay? Do you get this? Think of this metaphor, okay? The egg is the thought. The sperm is the energy and the emotion. It even squiggles like that, right? We've seen this little, how many times in science did we get taught, oh, here's the egg and here's the sperm and beep, now we have a baby, right? And it starts growing. It starts gestating in divine timing. Nothing has to be done. It does it by itself, right? Okay? We just have to wait. 9 months later, we have, poof, a perfect human being, right? So that's what you do every single day. Your thoughts are the egg. Your energy and your emotions are the sperm. And they're coming together to gestate. And we do this every day. So because I know that my DNA, when I had my children, produced what I have, which are beautiful, but I know that I was vibrating in different ways when I had my children. With my son, I vibrated in a certain way. I had a lot of anger with my son. I had a lot of fear with my son. I was concerned that I wasn't ready as a mother with my son. So guess what? That manifested in a son that is amazing, but has ADHD, had a lot of issues, and has suffered because of it. But that was my energy in motion, guys. That was my energy in motion. So remember, that's why they tell you when you're pregnant, let's say, to not get all, like if you have a really challenging crisis in a pregnancy, it not only affects the physicality of the baby, it affects the emotions of the baby. Because one is not separate from the other. So I know distinctly the characteristics that my son has, the characteristics that my daughter has, and why they have them. Because they came through me. Not just me, but my ancestral DNA. Not just mine now. My entire family's DNA came with them. But you know what? They chose me because they knew that I was the one that was going to allow them to grow to who they needed to be in this life. So there's no judgment. There's no blame here. They're not victims. I'm not a victim. We just are. Okay? So anyway, I got off on a tangent. Let's go back to 10. The law of relativity. Okay. Each person will receive tests and challenges to resolve. What does that mean? We do not understand the concept of lightness until we're in the dark. We do not understand hot without cold. These are relative to each other. So in other words, how do we know that something is beautiful if we don't see something that is ugly? This ability to compare is actually a law. It is called the law of relativity. It is objective, but it allows us to understand contrast. And this is a critical law to understand when you're in the law of attraction. Because when you get something that you do not want in your life, you have to understand that that's not there to hurt you or anything like that. That's there to teach you that relatively you do not want that. Mm-hmm. Therefore, you must correct your thoughts by contrast in order to get the other. Do you guys get this?
Repeat that again.
Okay. Okay. So
you know me already.
Okay, I know. It's okay. The law of relativity is there to show us a comparison. We are able to compare one thing against another.
So with the analogy of a relationship, a not healthy relationship.
Correct.
A good example here.
Perfect. So we're in a relationship and we just like, this particular person has all these characteristics that we're like, man, this guy is a deadbeat. I need a man who makes more money, or I need a man who really takes care of me, or what I need in my life is this. But guess what? The only reason we know that is because we're experiencing the contrast, the relativity to that. Do you get it? So we do not know anything unless we compare it to something else. You get it? This is
to be super clear on the things that you want.
Correct.
Now sit there and know what you don't want, whether that's whatever type of relationship that is.
Yes. And it works everywhere. It's as simple as if you grew up in a dark room without any windows, okay? And all of a sudden one day you broke a hole and looked out and said, oh my God, there's something else out there, right? The only way you know that is by comparison. So that is the law of relativity. Okay? It's contrast. So whenever something happens to you, I love the way Abraham Hicks says that. Oh, I'm having some interesting contrast today. Okay? Right. So when something bad happens, like right now we're experiencing this pandemic, right? Are in a of sorts, right? Who's up? So we're in a crisis, right? So all of a sudden we are comparing our lives, how they were before, to how they are now. And all of a sudden we're like, man, wasn't it nice when we were able to like give each other a hug? How nice was that? I miss hugging, right? Or maybe, man, it was so nice to have a restaurant to go to. I took for granted all those times that I went to a restaurant, right? And sat with my family or my friends. That's contrast.
Yeah.
That's comparison.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
That is the law of relativity at work. Now we can compare. But, right?
Yeah.
So, number 11, the law of polarity. Now, I've mentioned polarity before, right?
B, hold on one second.
Yeah.
Can everybody mute themselves because we're hearing background noise?
Yeah.
Please,
thank you, Deborah.
Thank you.
Okay. So the law of polarity is very similar to the law of relativity and even similar to other laws that I've talked about, like the law of attraction. Okay. But are you starting to see a pattern in all of these laws? Right? The way I said in one of my previous lessons that the earth plane is a beautiful school. It's perfectly designed because of its duality. Duality and polarity are the same thing. In fact, Let me give you an example. You know that electricity has two currents, right? In order for us to turn on our lights, we have a positive and a negative current.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it doesn't work.
Right.
Correct? So this entire planet's energy is based on polarity. Hot, cold, light, dark, good, bad. We only know one because of the other. And together, they're not good or bad. They make things work. We cannot judge them as good or bad. We just have to understand that they are, and that that's the way this universe works. In order for us to get light, we need a positive and a negative. Light, we would say, is a good thing, right? But one cannot be without the other. Simple as that. It's just a law. Okay? So now we have number 12, the law of rhythm.
Law of rhythm.
The law of rhythm. Now you're going to say, what the hell is the law of rhythm? Okay, the law of rhythm is basically cyclical. What is rhythm? Right? Rhythm is a continuous changing motion. Continuous changing motion. We are in a constant state of evolution. Okay? Every 60 seconds becomes another minute. Every summer becomes a fall. Every fall becomes a winter. Every winter becomes a spring. Every spring becomes a summer, etc., etc., etc. Everything is rhythm. Okay? So remember that everything ebbs and flows. So you better be sure that we are going through this crisis, but it will ebb and it will flow at some point, right? In January, we were all excited about 2020. Oh my God, everybody made plans. This year's going to be phenomenal. Wow, this is going to be incredible. Everybody made goals. Everybody wrote goals down.
This is my year.
This is my year, blah, blah, blah. And here, guess what? COVID-19, big pause button.
La pausa.
La pausa.
La pausa.
This is, now we know it. We just look at the ocean in one day. Have you guys ever been on a boat one entire day on the ocean?
It ebbs and flows.
Every single moment of that day is different. Like you can look at the water and from one moment to the next, it would be so peaceful and quiet. And the next second, it's windy and choppy. And you're like, what the hell? What caused that? Well, basically, that's the ebb and flow of life. That is the law of rhythm.
It's even in the Bible to stand still.
Yes. There's always going to be a peak and there's always going to be a valley. The pendulum always swings to the opposite side. Law of rhythm. Okay? 13. The law of belief.
Law of belief.
The law of belief. So the law of belief is basically that what we believe becomes our reality. Okay? I'm going to let you sit with that for a minute. What we believe becomes our reality. So, in another lesson, I mentioned that belief is just a thought we keep thinking. Okay? Change your thoughts, change your beliefs, change your reality. So if you don't like your reality, watch your thoughts, because what you believe is what you became or what you created. No one else did it. No one did it to you. You believed it, and that's what it became. Okay? So, the reason that this is such an important law is because we are conditioned from the moment we're born with certain beliefs. Maybe in your family, the belief is, I don't know about you guys, but I grew up in a family that if you ate something and you took a shower right after, there was a belief that you would have. ¿Cómo se llama eso?
Yes, I remember that. That was the belief in my family. Right. And I had to wait, and I was like, why do I have to wait? Yeah.
Isn't that the silliest belief of all?
It's a superstition.
Yes, it was like, because who knows in what pueblo some guy ate something, went and took a shower, le dio un patatú, and now all of a sudden, everybody in the rumor spread that if you took a shower after you ate, that you were going to have this thing happen to you.
There's a name for it, and I'm trying to think of it, and I can't remember it.
I don't know what it is, but that is a belief, right? Now, we know today that is one of the most silliest things that you could
I think that's a Latin belief, right? Because I don't think eso es Latino, ¿verdad?
But it's a Cuban superstition.
It's a Cuban superstition, right? It's the stupidest thing I've
ever because it's Puerto Rican too, okay?
Yes. So guess what? That is a belief, and that is an erroneous belief. And yet I guarantee you that there's been thousands of people influenced for years over that stupid belief, right? All right. So think about all the beliefs that you have. Just think about it.
Yeah. And they're powerful.
They're very powerful.
They're powerful.
And they are conditioned from birth. We give them to our children.
Right, exactly. Because our parents gave them to us.
Right.
And we give them to our children.
They're projections of our own fears.
Yeah.
They're projections of our own fears. And these beliefs cause us and our children and their children to behave in a certain way. So if we want to change our reality, we have to change our beliefs. Yeah. So if we grew up in a household in which money was scarce, okay? In which money was scarce, and there was no belief in abundance because everybody felt like a victim of this financial poverty, I call that the illusion of poverty. Okay?
Or lack.
The illusion or lack of abundance.
Yeah.
And if you believe this, trust me, you will be manifesting that.
Right.
You will be continuously manifesting poverty. It took me years, and Michi, you're on this call. It took me years to overcome the poverty mentality that I grew up with.
Listen, it's taken me years, okay?
Okay?
Okay.
And let me tell you, it stemmed.
You have to catch yourself.
Yes, you do. We all do need to catch ourselves. Yes.
What happened?
And correct that.
I lost all of you here.
But we hear you. We just don't see you.
Ah, there we are.
There you are.
Okay.
That's
all right.
Weird.
That was so weird. Okay.
So
poverty mentality is one of my favorite belief systems that I broke from. And it came from my grandfather. Okay. My grandfather on my mother's side, he grew up very poor. He came here to the United States in 1929. Imagínate tú, what a year to come to the United States in the Depression. So he had a deep-rooted poverty belief system. Deep, 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 deep. And therefore, he carried that into his life, into my mother's life, and my mother carried it into me and my sister. And I had to overcome this poverty mentality in order to create abundance in my life. But I had to start by the belief that I was not poor. I am not poor.
We are rich in abundance, in everything.
In abundance. Right. I have all the abundance that I can have. In fact, anything that I desire, I manifest. That's a belief, guys. And a belief is a very powerful thing. Okay? Okay. We're getting to the end. Number 14. The law of gender. Now, I love ending on this one. This, to me, we don't even think about this, but I want you to understand it deeply, because I have said on these calls before, and today we have only women on this call. And I have said a million times that we are the feminine divinity on this planet. We are here not to overload or overwhelm the masculine energies, but to enhance and balance it and harmonize it. Okay? Remember that. The idea behind feminism, I never have liked, because to me, it makes an issue out of being a woman. And I don't like making an issue out of being anything. Because once you make it an issue, guess what? The law of belief says that it is. We are not in the belief system that we are more or better than men at all. We are just the balancing energy to a highly masculinized society. For years and years and years, we have been in a patriarchal society. We know this to be true, correct? So the law of gender says that everything has its masculine yang energy and everything has its feminine yin energy. Everything. You, me, your husband, your children, everything has a yin and a yang. Everything has a male and a female gender. Talking about coherence and balance, if you are not coherent and balanced in your feminine and masculine energy, you are out of balance. For years, I was out of balance. For years, in fact, everything manifested on my left side because I was being very masculine. In my business, I was masculine. The reason I'm bringing this up and the reason I'm closing on this law, and I want you to think about it, is because as women in this day and age, we often lose our balance. And I tell you, 90% of the women that I know and that are close to me have an imbalance in their gender. I don't know what it is, but I have a tendency
I
to
was
attract
thinking about you, Tata. You've got a...
So guess what? I must be attracting, from the law of attraction, these women into my life. Okay? And the reason that I'm bringing it up is because being out of balance is being incoherent. Okay? And when you're incoherent, you are not in a good state. The whole point, I don't know if you got the message with these laws today, but they are similar in nature. They're similar in nature because basically all they're saying is you have to find that balance between here and here, right? It's not that one is good and one is bad. No, there's no blame. There's no judgment. These laws are completely, like I said, they don't have a sense of humor. Okay?
Right.
They just are. And if you are out of balance in your gender, okay, if you are being too masculine or you are being too feminine, you're out of balance. So one of the things that we're doing, and the reason we came as women to this planet right now, is because it is important to nurture this planet. It is important to find the mother feminine divine energy to balance it at this time. We came as powerful forces of light to move this planet in a more balanced and coherent fashion. And we're doing it every day. What I'm doing today is part of that. Teaching all of you to go out into the world with tools and an understanding and an awareness and an awakening that you may not have had a chance or an opportunity to learn. That's all this is. And the law of gender is a law. And we must find the balance within ourselves first and be able to bring that powerfully into the world. So when we go out as women into the world, we must go out with our balanced, coherent energy, not as a force to make issues out of being a woman, but to create balance in the masculinity of the world. Because it is quite obvious that the shit is not working, okay? We're still very balanced, ladies. The planet, the earth, and humanity collectively is very out of balance. That's why we're in timeout. and that's why Mother, Father, God has sent us to our rooms to think. And today, all of you have taken a pause to think, grow, and learn in the right direction. To expand your minds, to expand your hearts, and to understand the principles that are influencing you, whether you know them or not. Because at the end of the day, these laws affect you every single minute of the day.
Right. So true.
And it's up to you to become aware of them through your emotions. Remember, I said that your emotions are your compass. They're your guiding light. They are energy and motion. There's only two emotions, love and fear, period. Are you feeling love or are you feeling fear? Are you projecting those fears out into the world because of your conditioning and beliefs? See how I'm wrapping them all up here? All of these laws are connected because of the divine oneness that we are experiencing. Remember that divine timing is at work every day of your life. Plant the seeds of thoughts and emotions that you want to sow through the law of cause and effect and gestation. Remember that everything has a positive and a negative. It is a law. Use these laws and principles to guide you and to help you understand your place within them through the law of correspondence. What happens inside will reflect on the outside. Take action with those thoughts and you will get a momentum in the direction of those energies and frequencies. And the law of rhythm helps you to remember that there will always be an ebb and a flow, that what goes up must come down, that nothing is ever going to be the same. In fact, change is absolute. But you have the ability to transmute at any moment your frequency to manipulate and manifest your dreams into reality. So, any questions?
Tati, thank you so much.
That was awesome.
Yes, it was a beautiful. I wrote everything down, all the laws. I'm going to hop into an exercise class because that's typical of me.
Go for it. Go for it.
But love you and all you guys that are on this call. It's wonderful.
Bueno, this is Lourdes. I had to hop off in the middle, but you're going to send the recording, right? Like you always do? I am. I'm going to share the recording in the, so just so you girls know, I'm going to transfer our chat. The goddess one is going to stay the goddess one because that's Bea's private goddess group, right? So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to transfer it into a WhatsApp so that we can start inviting more women and sharing it with more women because
that's a great idea.
Bea and myself, Bea and myself have both noticed that a lot more people want to know about this and they want to be, they want to know more about what Bea's teaching. So I know sometimes we may not want to share questions and answers, but if you want to share a question or if you want to ask a question and you don't want to share it in the chat, please feel free to send it to me directly or to Bea, so that way we can be prepared for it every week on our Sunday calls.
You could also, sorry to interrupt you. You could also send private chats through Zoom. So if you want to send a chat that only Bea sees,
exactly,
correct,
in the conversation.
Yeah,
so you kind of want to bring it up then.
Right.
Correct.
You don't want
get it right in the moment.
You could always private questions.
Lourdes, the problem with that is that it's Bea's focus and she's trying to teach us. For her to be looking also at the chats, that may be a little uncomfortable.
No, I'm okay with that, Deb.
Yo, you okay?
No,
All right,
Deborah,
cool.
you don't know Bea that side. She can multitask.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Very true.
For all of you,
I have a lot of training. I have a lot of training in that. Florinda can attest.
Yes.
For everybody that's on here, let me ask you a question. Was 9 o'clock a problem, or should we go back to 10 o'clock?
Yes, 9 o'clock is too early. It's sleep-in Sunday.
It's really hard for me, ladies, to know what time is the best for everyone.
Right.
There's some of you that are early birds, and there's some of you that are not. And I'm an early bird, so I want to accommodate and be able to touch as many people as I can.
I'm good with 10.
You're good with 10?
I'm good with 10.
It's a happy medium.
I'm good with
if it's
10.
a morning, it's like the middle before, noon, and it gives people, I don't know, maybe 10. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there, but whatever the consensus is, I
try to see the consensus for all. I mean, remember, I'm the one kind of adjusting to all of you. At some point, it will get to a place where I have to dictate what. But 10 works. 10 works for me. This is something I do because I love doing it, and there's so much to cover that it's hard for me to narrow it down. I hope today wasn't too grand. It's a lot to digest.
Yeah, but it was awesome. It was awesome to get through all these 14 laws. Some of them you've heard of, some more than others, but definitely not all. So it was an awesome lesson.
For me, this is
how they're all connected.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you, Raquel. Yes, and honestly, what I would love is, these laws are a lot. I just covered like little snippets of each. Diving into this is a big, big task. Even just law of attraction alone, we could talk an hour about law of attraction.
Do you think, Bea, that next week, if anyone during the week experiences an aha in any of these laws, it would be nice for some people to share next week when we start? I mean, I don't know if everybody's going to share, if there's time for that, but at least a few people that are really kind of like during the week and said, that is the law of, wow. Yeah.
I would love to
hear from the group.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I would hear from you, because I'm telling you, I just planted little seeds. And if you take the moment to be aware, look throughout your week how these laws participate in your week, and then get back to me on what was revealed to you, because I personally believe that at every moment we are receiving. Remember that we are transmitters. We are transmitters, but we are also receivers. Okay? We are transmitters. We're like a radio that is receiving a broadcast signal, but we are also a broadcasting signal. Okay? It's again, think about the reciprocal cycle, right? What comes in goes out, what's within comes without. These laws are in a constant state of movement throughout our lives. So remember what you're broadcasting, and you're also receiving. I receive messages all the time. I have gotten to a place in my life where I can see them for what they are. When they show up, I recognize them and acknowledge them. I invite you all to do that in your own lives, okay? I invite you to open yourself up to receive the messages. Ariel, when I told you about sitting in the car and taking 3 deep breaths and creating an intention, okay, of protection for yourself and of putting yourself in the right framework and frequency to go into your work, okay, we can all do that every day. Every day I invite you to say, I am ready to receive the messages that I have not heard before because of my unawareness, but now I am awake, I am aware, I am open to receive these messages, and I guarantee you that you will.
Absolutely. I think setting the intention in the beginning of the day has made a really big difference in my life. You know, I've been recently waking up early, setting your intention for the day, and it really, you see the difference in your day and everything.
Good. Yes. And will, as you open up to these ideas and as you understand and become aware of your own frequency and what you are projecting, you will become, you're going to start receiving, trust me, start receiving messages big time. And I want you all to share them because this is important that we understand that these things are true and real. Like I said, these laws are objective. They don't have a sense of humor. They just are. Okay? Remember to put out there the best that you are. And that's what you will receive. And then be very gentle with yourself when you have a day or a moment that you're completely out of sorts. It happens to us all. We will have a day in which we just woke up literally on the wrong side of the bed. But you know what? You can transmute that energy at any time. Remember that through certain tools that I would love to go through as well, because we haven't even dived into that. We haven't gone into tools beyond just awareness and knowledge. Our physical bodies allow us to have these tools to change, and the breath is one of them. Okay? The breath is just one of them. So I hope that this information, I'm going to try and do the same thing that I did with the self-sabotage. Did you guys get the self-sabotage notes that I sent out?
No. Where did you send them? How did you send them out?
With a text to my normal text, Deb, not the bigger group that we have right now. You got them? Did you get the
got them, but I don't know if everybody else got them. So maybe you can, now when I do the group chat on WhatsApp, maybe you can. WhatsApp. I think you should share it there.
Yeah.
Okay. And what you know what we can also do? We can share all of the sessions that we've had. Well, I'm not going to do that because we're going to be adding people. There was some on the first couple of sessions we were a little bit more personal, so I'm going to leave those out. But maybe share those notes on that group chat.
Okay,
that's a good idea.
Just make sure, please, for me, make sure that you have my personal email because my emails get copied to the world, including the SEC and everybody else.
Lourdes, just send your email now or your WhatsApp to Deborah.
Send it by email, guys. I just sent it by text. I think text is fine, don't you think?
Okay, yeah, text is fine.
Text is fine. It's personal. Okay. I'm not going through emails, okay? So I'm going to send through text the self-sabotage again. I will try and put this one that we did today, which is the 14 universal laws. I will send it as well because I think
that's awesome.
This is very foundational, and I want
for those that weren't able to attend too. So that'll be good, Bea.
Right.
Yes. Okay.
Does anybody have any questions? Questions at all for Bea?
No, thank you for putting everything together.
That was awesome. What a great way to start our Sunday, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And I was with Marisol yesterday, and I was like, shoot, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. But this morning, I got a download.
And I said, girl, you got it.
You were together yesterday? You didn't invite me? How dare you?
We were biking.
That was it was a very,
you can invite me too. Okay. I have a bike.
Oh, you're right.
I have a bike.
Lourdes, I got a flat tire and we had to walk my bike back to the bike shop. So that was very fun.
I'm glad I wasn't there.
Two flat tires on the same tire.
Thank you for not inviting me then.
Yeah. But you know
what?
A full workout. It gave me enough time to brainstorm on what I was going to talk about. And this morning I was like, Bam, I got this.
No. It was awesome. Te la comiste.
Thank you,
Okay,
lady.
guys, I gotta jump.
Bye.
Bye, ladies.
Bye.
Ciao.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.